What's up guys, JV2017 here. Today I'm going to give you a complete analysis of the brand new 16-minute gameplay commentary walkthrough, I guess you could say, by BioWare's creative director on Dragon Age Inquisition. And this is a very exciting video, a ton of new information. I just want to share it with you guys, but first off, I strongly urge that you watch the 16-minute video linked in the description below, because I am going to be talking over this guy. Of course, I have him muted, but I'm going to be paraphrasing, giving my own analysis of everything that this guy is talking about in Dragon Age Inquisition. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the information given in this video. So basically, he starts off by detailing how big the world is. It's way bigger than Dragon Age Origins, and it's all about exploration. Anything you can see in the distance, you can actually travel to, which is very, very exciting. You know, there are varied environments, anything from the desert to the swamps where you can fight the demons. But right here we see that there is the good old character wheel coming back. And our character, of course, is, well, maybe not of course, maybe you don't know this, but this is a female Qunari, which if you don't know what the Qunari are, they are an interesting race. We had them in the first game. Sven was a very great Qunari in Origins, and in the second game they looked a lot different, but they were definitely in the second game a lot. But in this game we get to see a female Qunari. We get to actually play one, so they're basically showing that off, and this is a Qunari mage. So first off, you can tell just how beautiful this game is. It's just so beautiful, and the great thing is you can walk around and it'll be like this almost everywhere you go, which I think we get this from the next gen technology, or I should say new gen, because we're currently in, you know, the current generation now. It's brand new. But what you can tell immediately is the snappy combat from Dragon Age 2 is back. And really, I think the thing that set apart Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins was Dragon Age Origins had this kind of character and charm about it that Dragon Age 2 did not. Origins had just a great personality to the game, and Dragon Age 2 kind of felt robotic, and I don't know, it just didn't feel like it got all of the love that Origins got. But what I can tell so far in this game is that it got the best of both worlds from Origins and Dragon Age 2. And so what I can tell is this game has a ton of personality so far, and it's got that great, quick, snappy combat. So we're going to fast forward here to the next section of this little gameplay demo here. We're going to come across another combat scenario, and we're going to get to see a lot more of the other, you know, companions. Of course, Dragon Age basically is squad-based RPG combat. You can switch to anybody, and they're going to showcase that in here. By the way, the spell effects are just beautiful in this game, and I think, again, we can thank, you know, the new generation of video game consoles for that. I mean, everything looks fantastic from what I've seen. So yeah, they're gonna go ahead and pause the game, and they bring back tactical view. Actually, they're not. I was totally wrong about that. I guess that comes up in this next battle scene right here. But yeah, again, the spell effects, you can just see the fire around. Everything is just much more beautiful and pretty, and again, I think they take that from Dragon Age 2. So here, he pauses the game. This is what we were able to do in Origins, and what a lot of people fussed about in 2. You weren't able to do this in Dragon Age 2, and it's great. So you can just pause the game and, you know, basically issue a lot of tactical commands that you weren't able to do in 2. You were able to do this, again, in Origins. And we're seeing, of course, that you can just switch to any character in your party and mess around with them, you know, and, you know, play as them, do whatever you want. Again, issue commands. It's a very tactical thing, and if you want to play on the highest difficulty, this definitely caters to that kind of play style, that kind of RPG feel, which again, super excited for. And we got to see that archer character right there. So let's rewind a little bit and see what kind of skills we're dealing with, and see if we can compare them to skills in previous games. Let's start off with the mage here, the character that we're playing with. So in the bottom right, we're looking at right here, we can see the kind of stone icon. So basically the same kind of basic, like, I guess you could say skill types are going to be with each character. So there's going to be kind of an earthy feel for mages. There's also going to be like an electricity kind of, what am I looking for? Like skill tree. We're going to see a little bit of that later, which is going to be great. There's also the ice in the bottom right. Again, the electricity in the top right. And in the middle, it looks like a spirit kind of move. And you can see throughout, this video, if you pay attention to the combat, like I've been showing, the character using each of these different moves. So let's look at the second skill set that they have here. Again, we have some more moves. Now we have some fire moves. So in the bottom left and in the center, in that bottom right little skill area, we have those fire moves. One looks like a big one looks like a small one, and then top right looks like kind of a blizzard ability where you rain down snowflakes. Just kidding, it's probably not that. It's probably more powerful. And the bottom right looks like some kind of swiftness, increased mobility kind of crowd control slash, mobility skill. So it's interesting to look at these skills. Now let's look at this archer character in our party. So if you ever played an archer in one of the previous Dragon Age games, you're probably familiar with what kind of archery skills you have, but maybe they'll surprise us. If I had to guess, the X bottom left skill would be some kind of high power, bullseye, headshot. And then the middle one, I think there was something called shattering shot or something like that. Shattering arrow in Origins. That's what that looks like to me. Bottom right looks like some kind of pinning shot, pinning arrow that would pin the target in place, causing them to be stunned. And then the top right skill looks like a fan of blades, kind of defensive archer skill, get away from me type of skill. So that's basically my speculation on the archer skills in this video. At this point, the creative director continues to describe some of the companions. Iron Bull's the male Kunari. We'll get to see some combat with him a little bit later, but he owns his own mercenary company, and they're basically showing off the fact that each of these, companions has their own agenda, and it affects the world around you. And that's a really exciting thing, and it's good to see that games are getting, I know it's kind of a buzzword, but dynamic is the word they're using, and I don't know, it just makes sense for some reason, even though, again, I think dynamic is kind of just a buzzword that doesn't mean anything, but it just feels a lot more intuitive. There we go. That's also a buzzword. Anyways, look at the loot there. I think the overall interface is a lot more sleek as well. I was about to say dynamic again, but I would just have to slap myself if I used that dumb word again. Anyways, we're going to pause here and look at this kind of wheel and kind of guess what's going on here. What we're looking at here is something very familiar. It's like an in-game kind of pause tactical menu, I guess you could say. And so at the very top, we can speculate that that's health potions, I believe. That's what it looks like. And then next to it, to the right, would be a mount, which is very exciting. We'll get to that in a second. To the right, I don't know what that is. That looks like some kind of tactical order thing. Maybe you can issue orders to your companions in that menu. Bottom right looks like some kind of item. Same with the bottom, very bottom. And then to the left of that, I don't have any idea what that means at all. Of course, you guys can maybe speculate with me in the comments below. To the left, looks like you could issue some sort of, attack this target, everyone attack this target command. That's what that looks like to me. And then finally, top diagonal left, I guess you could say, that looks like, use items. You could go ahead, go in there, and then maybe you have a quick item menu, something like that. So again, just a very nice little in-game tactical menu for us to play with in Inquisition. Continuing on, we get to see the awesomeness of the mount, which it looks great, to be honest. It looks like they know exactly what they're doing with mounts. I know it sounds like it's hard to screw up, but sometimes when you have mounts in games, they look awkward. They don't look good. And in this game, it looks good. That's just my, general thought about it. And the awesome thing is the developer mentions unique mounts, which just, that sounds like a ton of videos and a ton of content that I can bring for you guys when it comes out on October 7th. So this game world is huge. Again, that's something I mentioned at the beginning of the video that the developer talked about at the beginning as well. This game is bigger than Origins, and I believe Origins was bigger than Dragon Age 2. Could be wrong about that, but it was annoying to run around Origins, and it's good to see that they address that in a logical and awesome manner, It just kind of increases the spectacle value, per se, of this game. And it's really cool. I know you can't hear it now, but again, if you heeded my advice and watched this video before you watch this analysis, you can hear people talking, and it sounds like they got, of course, BioWare is amazing about voiceovers, but it sounds like they got it all right. The random people that you pass by all had these little conversations. They're all talking, and they're like talking about Templars and talking about mages. Of course, we know that the big Templar versus Magi, conflict is the centerpiece of this game. Look at that beautiful mountain to the right. That is just so pretty. I'm just astounded by how beautiful, yeah, look at that. How beautiful this game is. And right now, they kind of talk about how each character, of course, this is kind of a la, the other games. This is not really a new thing, but whenever you go to certain areas, every character has something to say. And I always loved the little side conversations between, what was his name, Alistair, of course, and Morrigan. Those two were wonderful to listen to. They had some awesome little back and forth, sassy little things to say to each other. And I think we can expect a lot of the same in this game with some very interesting characters. Of course, Leliana is not in this video, but she's been teased to return to Inquisition. And also Iron Bull is another very interesting character, and I'm sure there will be a lot more. So we get to look at the really awesome stuff here. First off, a little look at the map and kind of a quick travel function. Of course, that was always a part of Dragon Age. On the right, you can tell it's like a little something you can change companions with, so I guess that's how you do that. So now we get to look at some very awesome things. I'm going to be pausing a lot during this just to kind of point out some things to you guys. So let's get started with that. Here we get a look at the inventory screen for the Iron Bull. Again, one of the companions in Inquisition. So as you can tell on the right, the top row is for weapons, and since the Iron Bull is using a two-handed weapon, that's why you see the same kind of axe there. Of course, if your character dual-wielded, maybe your companion dual-wielded, I believe there would be different weapons in each slot there, but there isn't for him. So right below, on the left side of his items, you can tell right below that is a chest piece. So we have the weapons, and we have the chest piece, then right below that looks like some kind of necklace slot, so very basic RPG stuff. Below that is a ring, which is cool. Now we're going to shift to the right side. Below the axe, once again, we have what looks like a helmet. So there's a helmet slot there. Then below that is a belt. And again, the helmet is dark because he doesn't have a helmet on. Obviously, he's not wearing one. So again, we have the belt. And then finally below that looks like another ring slot, perhaps maybe a trinket, but it looks like another ring. So that's what we're going on with. And then you can tell on the left, you can kind of scroll through this menu, look at your weapons, your armor, accessories, upgrades, all that nice stuff. Here we get a nice look at how different armor sets are going to affect our character. So as you can tell, we have selected with Iron Bull the Superior Battlemaster Male. And then to the right of that it says 81, and then whatever that icon is. I'm just going to assume that is armor. So as you can tell below that, it says core stats. Below all of that armor and whatnot, it says core stats and then defenses. So as you can tell, we can see the Iron Bull's health is 686. His attack, I guess, is 56. And then his armor is 84. And you can see that little green bar, it's being affected by that Battlemaster Male. So again, very, simple little system going on here. And then for defenses, it's hard to speculate on what exactly those icons mean. Of course, under defenses, you can see there's a little sword. I mean, we don't know how that's different. Maybe that's melee attacks. So actually, this kind of makes sense. So maybe that top bar is defense against melee attack. The middle one with the arrow is defense against arrow attacks, ranged attacks. And the bottom one is defense against magic. So if I had to guess, that is what those defenses are, and he's not getting anything really from that Superior Battlemaster Male in the defenses department. But anyways, nice little look at the armor there. Now we're going to get a look at what I believe is one of the most interesting parts of this whole video, and that is the actual skills and the skill trees. So as you can tell right here, we're looking at a mage, and this is basically what we've seen in previous games, but obviously a little more fleshed out, and it honestly looks a lot better than Dragon Age 2 just from looking at it. So basically, we have different schools of, skills. So for the mage, we have Spirit here is what is selected now. And then the book to the right looks to be Earth, or, I forget what they call it. I think it's Earth. To the right of that looks to be Fire. And then over to the left of Spirit looks to be Entropy, which was, I think it's Entropy. Something like that, maybe like some kind of dark magic. And then to the left of that, again, I'm not sure what that is. That could be anything. That could be like blood magic. It could be. Not sure. But anyways, this is what our skill trees are going to look like. And I feel like it was way too basic in Dragon Age 2. So hopefully they, make it a little more complicated. Give us RPG fans a little more to work with this game. So as we switch characters, we're moving on to the rogue. And now we're looking at some of the rogue types of classes, which is interesting. We're looking at the double daggers, which is kind of like the assassin, traditional rogue kind of character, which is not what we're seeing here. We're seeing the archer is what this rogue is in the game. But again, just looking at the skill tree, we got a lot of things to work with. And on the right, it's kind of interesting. We're looking at some of the skills that are in this double daggers tree. It's kind of hard to speculate what those icons mean, what those skills do, so I'm not really going to. But just looking from the different kind of specializations for the Inquisitor Rogue, we have double daggers, of course. To the right of that looks like archery, so that's cool. To the right of that looks like some kind of trap-based rogue specialization. That's very cool. On the far left, it looks like some kind of stealth-based, maybe deception kind of, based rogue class. And then next to that looks like a poison-based class. So, some very basic-looking rogue classes, a lot of variety, which is, of course, what increases the replay value of these games. I love it when they have a lot of these different classes because I want to go and explore them, play this game a bunch of times, and that's like, looks like what we're going to be doing, with this game. So onward to the warrior specializations here. The same basic warrior specializations are returning in Inquisition from what I could tell. So by looking at Iron Bull's specializations here, we have the basic weapon and shield, which would be the sword and board tank. To the right, we have the two-handed warrior, my favorite. And then we have a bunch of these other kind of specializations. So we have the Vanguard, that's the Battle Master. On the far right is the Battle Master. I don't remember Battle Master. I could be wrong. That might have been in both Origins and 2, but I can't remember. I do know for sure that on the far left is the Vanguard specialization, and then next to that is the Reaver. So those are returning as well. And, the Warrior, you can expect a lot of the same. And what I loved about the Warrior is just, I just love melee characters. Actually seeing my character, make contact with an enemy is super satisfying for me, a lot more satisfying than a ranged character. So if I had to guess, I'd probably be starting out with a warrior. But it's interesting to look at these specializations in the trees, and they all look like they're about the same shape. So there's nothing kind of weird, oddly shaped like we had in 2. It was a little convoluted, so I'm glad they kind of got rid of that mess and, went with what they have here. So the rest of the video is just this dragon fight, so I might complete it, might not, but I'm just going to give you guys my overall feel of, what I've thought with this game. And I'm super excited. I am very, very excited for Dragon Age Inquisition because it looks like, sort of what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, looks like they took the best things from Origins and 2 and put them in this game. They took the character, the personality, and the overall general feel of the first game of Origins, which is what everybody loved about that game, and they took the fluid, better stylized, nicer looking design of the combat in 2 and put it in this game. And I'm hoping that's what we get in the final product. And something I really wish they would do, and obviously they're not doing, if they were, they would have come out and said, this is, our selling point, is multiplayer. I wish I could hop in as my warrior, my Inquisitor warrior, and then I could just invite my buddy who's an Inquisitor mage into my game, and we could go travel to, Ferelden together and kill dragons like we're doing right now. That would be a really compelling selling point for Dragon Age 3 or Dragon Age Inquisition. But it's not in the game, and it's a little disappointing. But at the same time, there's so much to be excited about with this game. I think it's a huge, huge improvement on Dragon Age games we've seen in the past. It's bigger, it's better, it's more beautiful, and it's refined. And that's a big thing. So far, from what I could tell, it's refined. And that's another thing that was missing from the previous games. Like I said, the weak point of Origins was the combat. The weak point of 2 was the story and the personality, and it just kind of felt robotic and felt like a thrown together EA game that was just a hollow shell of a game. And it feels like they put a lot of heart into this game. And the tactical combat is back. We've got that tactical screen where we can go up in the air, we can pause, we can move our guys around, and that will satisfy both hardcore RPG players, and I believe it'll bring in new fans to the series just by how beautiful it is. And I'm just a sucker for class-based RPGs. I love distributing my points. I love collecting my loot. And this is exactly what, that's exactly the kind of game that this is turning out to be. So, anyways, guys, that's really my take on Inquisition. I am 100% on board with this game now. I'm going to hesitate to pre-order because pre-ordering is bad for the gaming industry, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you're as excited as I am. Let me know if I'm crazy for being excited for this game. I don't know how I could be. I think you're crazy for not being excited about this game if you are one of those people. Because it looks great. It looks so good. And I really hope it meets my expectations, and I'm sure it will surpass them. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.